so for this video, we are going to be looking to actually deploy level 0, level 1, and level 2 all in one go. So what we're going to be using is a brand new tenant. So if you haven't created one, check out on week 3 and make sure your subscription is completely empty. We're going to be using a GitHub account. So navigate to GitHub if you haven't created an account and create that as well. We're also going to be using Docker like we have before. So make sure Docker is installed in your actual computer. And then what we need to do is make sure that the Visual Studio extensions, again, that will be covered. That's covered in my previous 2 videos where I talked about Docker being installed on Visual Studio and the extensions within it. So for this video, we are actually going to launch, and what we're going to do is that we're going to actually follow step by step exactly what we have been, but I'll try and keep the explanations a bit short because I covered most of the explanations in the previous video, so feel free to check that out. So essentially, if we now go into setting up your organization, so the first thing we need to do is actually open up the platform SAR repository and open up in a new tab. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this template, and I'm just going to create the template public because essentially what that will do is I'll call it CAF Terraform platform. Okay, starter. All right, so there we are. So we have the platform starter, which is going to be public repository, and I'm going to create it under my owner account. So you can create private for yourself if you're just working on the code. Keep in mind that when you actually do that, there might be an extra step in Visual Studio Code having you to sign in, but that's what you may need to do. So I'm just going to create this as public repo. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click code, and then I'm going to copy this code. Then I'm going to open up Visual Studio Code. That was a container from running before, and don't save, don't care. So we're gonna go into new terminal, and then we're gonna actually hit cd, go into and cd and make we're gonna actually cd to projects. Let's have a look what we have. I'm gonna make a new one, week 6.2. Yeah, quite a few. It's on week 62, but it's week 6.2. So and we're gonna just confirm and go into that. So essentially over here we're gonna git clone the actual repo, and then we're gonna cd into that. Okay, so we're now there. So essentially, if we go through, this is basically what the commands have been done, and you know, I've already got it trusted as you saw in my previous videos, so that should be okay. Make sure you have the remote extensions as we covered in a previous video. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna just open this folder in the container. So open folder in container, and we don't have Docker running, so this is a very important thing to have Docker running first of all as well. This I basically disabled Docker from running locally because I just basically restart my computer, so that way you know, I don't have a random container running for me unless I need it. So I've got Docker, and now if I again go into open folder and go into projects, and then week 62, lovely, and CAF Terraform platform SAR, and this should then start and build my Docker container and open it up. So we will also reopen in container, and yeah, now it's building my rover, and it's going to be building my files as well. So that way I'm going to be working within Docker and rover. So I'm just giving a moment for it to finish up. Good news, it says done. So we're going to press any key to kill the terminal, and then we're gonna be over here. Okay, great. So what's next? Next is we need to actually copy this landing zone code over here, and then and then we're just gonna paste this in as well. And now we have landing zones, which is good. We're gonna again switch to go and cd into landing zones as it says over here. And then we are going to then check out 2203.1. Now, how do I know it's 2203.1? Because if I actually look at the landing zones which I just grabbed, so for example, if I go over here and it says github.git, yeah. So if I take this and then I go through over here, this is the git, and then I can see that the latest is 2203.1. So that's what I'm gonna do. So where is it? If I go into here, git checkout 2203.1. Okay, and now we can go into the instructions once more, and we're gonna go into the next phase. So in this phase, what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually rover login, and we're actually gonna also cd the back domain. So so we're just gonna run execute rover login. And we're gonna log into our tenant. Right, make sure that everything is as detailed as you want. I'm just gonna have a look through to make sure I'm connecting to the right tenant. So Visual Studio subscription, tenant ID, this one. So if I just quickly go into my portal.azure.com. Anyway, so now that's all done. So we just make sure that if we switch directory, and we are in CAF Terraform 3, so we see that we have beginning with 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐵0. So let's just have a double check to make sure that we are there. 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐵0, great. So we are in the right tenant. So now what we need to do is we need to actually go back to that documentation. We are gonna see about the next following thing, and we're gonna copy and deploy the platform sh. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do next. So now it says, set the short version of your customer name with no spaces. I am going to call it Andrei P. And then I'm gonna be doing again the same thing for here. Prefix what I want is I'll call it AP9. That shows how many times I've tried to go through with my name. And then I'll just call it AP9 again for simplicity. Management group, I would go with let's see, what should I do? Again, I'll keep it in simple, and I'll keep it as Andrei P. Again, keep my email as it is. And then I'm just going to, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to copy this, and then it's a file, new text file. It's a bit easier to do it this way. UK West and UK South. Region 1. And there you go. Now that will execute created as you saw in my previous video. So we will just speed things up. Right, that's completed now. So what we're going to be doing now is actually going through the next phase, which will be review and customize. And now we're just going to, so we've looked at this, it's okay, so we're happy. If you want, we can review and, you know, make sure that it's okay. So as we see getting started, rover ignite, and then it says to us that we're gonna, once we're ready to ignite, to log into the tenant and subscription that we need. So we're gonna do that. Right, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna just run the Ansible playbook again. And we're gonna run it. Remember, but as what they say is, if you do see red, that's okay for the very beginning, because again, this is just a launchpad first time setup. Launchpad is meant to be going through like just as an initial, but you can actually we're gonna look into pipeline and stuff in our next video, so looking forward to that. We're gonna go into configuration level 0, and we're gonna go into launchpad. So we're gonna go into readme over here, and then we're gonna again. So what we're gonna do, we've already logged into rover, but let's just elevate our credentials by running this command. And then what we will do is we will just run this command. And then we will run this command. Right, okay, because this is a new tenant, I think I know exactly what happened over here. So what happened over here was when we go into and we look at management groups, I need to click on start user management groups. Again, new tenant, you need to click this, and then that should be fine. If we just run this again. Cool, so that's actually completed, and we now can see all the code. So we're gonna actually run the apply now. Yeah, as we know, sometimes it is one of those that you just have to apply again when there's an error like this, application administrator and stuff like that. Then that could be fine. If you just apply again, that should work. Yeah, my bad. I need to run the plan first, then I need to run the apply. And as expected, we got 13 to add, 3 to destroy, and we're just gonna execute the apply now. Okay, so that has been completed. 13 added, 0 change, 3 destroyed. So just to confirm, we can run the plan again, but I'm quite confident that it should be fine. So essentially what we need to do now is they say execute a rover logout and rover login to make sure our Azure sessions have the groups updated. So I'm just going to go a bit full screen just for you guys to see a little bit better. So rover logout, rover login. Let's just do this. Look, it has been made that you just basically follow the instructions, and that will get you going. Right, so we go into the Visual Studio Code. We're happy with this. So again, we're in credentials, right? So just making sure that we are in credentials. So here we've done the rover login. So they say to re-execute the rover ignite, so we shall do that. Okay, now that's executed. So now it says when you have successfully deployed the launchpad, we're gonna go into credentials. So great, we're gonna go into here. Okay, read me again. It tells us to log in. We should be fine. It hasn't. We are still from the previous, so we should be fine to just execute the plan for credentials. Again, everything has been filled out for me. These are Microsoft CAF Terraform best practices, where the team is quite a large team, and it has basically made deployment of enterprise scale very simple, and you can do this within an hour for your organization. That's all your plan which has executed. Again, we're just going to run apply. When we apply this, what's going to happen is it's going to update this README with the credentials that we're going to use in a pipeline in our next video to actually modify all the values and everything else. So first of all, we're just going to run the script. Okay, so now that's completed. So essentially what we need to now do is if we refresh the README, let's see. So you see that it's got an impersonate service principal from a key vault. So essentially, instead of actually using my login, it's going to use the service principal from a key vault URL, which is really cool to see. So essentially, I'm not going to be the one running the next plan or the next apply, but we'll cover that in the next video. So for now, we will go ahead and we will visit next steps, deploy the subscription services. So it says we're going to go into level 1. Now, I just want to have a quick note to you guys over here. Before, when I was doing this whole subscription kind of methodology, the identity management and connectivity, it wasn't like split into this. It was like split, like level 1 you might have policies and level 2 will be your network. Well, it seems that they have changed that to actually reflect the enterprise CAF, which is really, really great to see. And it's great to see this team now being on a full official Microsoft documentation, and this is basically the approach going forward. So this I can only recommend for you guys to go for this. But essentially, we're going to go into the subscription services because that's what it says for us to do next. But I'm gonna, again, just for my peace of mind, to run a rover login. After all of that, we just want to make sure that we are still logged in. And if I go into Visual Studio Code, it should be login, and then we're gonna run the plan. Now notice how in here already the impersonate SP from key vault URL is populated as well. So when we run it, it's not going to be my identity that runs this code and installs and all of that. It's actually going to be the service principal from the key vault URL, which is really cool. Cool, so that's the plan completed. So what we need to do now is just yeah, they need an actual apply command here, but it's okay. We're just gonna get rid of plan and put apply on. Yeah, guys, I'll update this. And there you go, apply has finished completing. Cool, so what do we need to do next? Again, we go into here and it tells us management is next. So as you can see, it goes from the bottom to the top. I wish I numbered it, so, or at least I could go from the top to the bottom, because the way it's all written and it's actually structured, it's like you're going bottom up, which is fine. You're going up some stairs, so happy days. Let's go for a plan for this one now. the user app ID. Let's just run a rover login once more. So let's try once more if we can actually do this properly. Okay, so that has run. So now what we need to do is we need to click on here and run apply. So now that's completed, we now need to go into the next phase, which is to run the level 1 identity. My camera is playing up. It's recording in a hot environment, so what I'm gonna kind of do is I'm just gonna put it to full screen for now, rather than you guys seeing my constant going off and on. Let's go through this. And then we're gonna do this. Yeah, I should have done 2203.1. My bad, it's summer, just fine, that will work. Right, so what we're gonna do is we now need to run the plan. So as you can see, there's 186 policies to add. This will take around 20 to 30 minutes. So I'm gonna execute this, but of course I'm gonna speed up for you guys in this video. But just be mindful that it's gonna take you a bit to apply all these policies. Okay, so now we have completed and gotten our policies deployed. If we just have a quick look at what we've deployed, so essentially if you look over here, we've deployed identity management connectivity, just the base stuff, and we've also deployed the management groups and stuff like that. So if I have a quick look and refresh on my management groups, I'll see I have an Andrei P, and then I have like all of these management groups that are there. Now, I currently have this subscription because essentially I'm only just using one subscription. But the whole goal is, for example, you have a connectivity subscription, which you put into connectivity, identity subscription, which you put there, and management as well. That we're going to cover a bit later, as we are still waiting for some documentation to be published by these guys, so I'm not going to go and rush ahead. I'll wait a little bit, and as soon as they've deployed it, I will go ahead and deploy for you guys in this video. So, but first of all, what I want to go through is the management groups, and we can have a look at the policies and notice that now we have a couple of different policies over here which are now set. And then if you notice, if you go through it a little bit more, you'll notice that enterprise scale landing zone policies have been applied. And we've deployed if I look at resources over here, we deployed a lot. So as you can see, identity kind of has, and launchpad have helped with like running key vault and deployments. Essentially, here's my prefix and here's my postfix. So I have like my random characters after that. Again, you can really customize it if you want yourself by just going through the configurations and ignite, and just before running any of these you can you know, edit and modify. But we're gonna edit and modify a few things in the future videos. For this, it's just to get started and learn how to get this environment running. We can see that log analytics has been deployed for us as part of the management, and we can see that recovery services vault has been deployed for us as well. And we can see that container insights and DNS. And again, this is all Microsoft best practice. This is what they've worked with organizations with, and this is what they've come up with. So it's all from Microsoft. It's not like I'm running this and creating this, but the main important thing is to adapt this to your business and your strategy. Hence why you might want to have a look at each level and make sure that what you know what you're deploying. You can see that from the Ignite files. If I for example go into here and go into, like, for example, launchpad, I can see that I've got all this information. But again, you can modify the what is it in here. You can, for example, credentials. This is what I've ran with credentials. So as you can see, you can modify all this stuff. With identity, again, any information that you might want to have. Again, you can just modify this. For example, recovery votes, the default policies for weekdays, Sunday first. If you have a different policy, you can just modify it here. Run your rover ignite YAML again for identity, and then that should populate your TFVARs file, where then you can run the pipeline to get what you need. You can also modify the TFRs, but I recommend just running through the this, because it's a lot cleaner and better way, which I really like the way they've done it. It's amazing. So that's your kind of like Ignite files. Hopefully this has made sense. And now that we've done level 1, let's move on to level 2. So level 2 has a few things over here. So essentially, if we have a look at level 1, when we deployed the policies, it told us to actually deploy ASVM. So if you don't know what ASVM is, it's a Azure subscription vending machine. So what that means is that if we have a look at this area, you see how you have a landing zone subscription, but this is like your base core, but then you might have like for example, data might need its own landing zone, or for non-prod or prod or something like that, then you might want to have that. And that's why you will have Azure landing zone subscription vending machine. So essentially, it's going to deploy all the key resources into a new subscription for you. So let's just have a look how to do this. If we go into Visual Studio Code, and then let's just minimize all of this, and then Azure subscription vending machine. Now again, I'm just gonna do 22.03.1 because that's what I need to do. I'm gonna make sure to log in with this. And now I'm just gonna do this. Open exit. And then what I'm gonna do is just run the plan. Okay, so the plan is there. So we are going to execute the apply now. Okay, cool. So that's complete. But essentially, if you were gonna go for a multi-vent subscription, you would need to just edit this to be again a different subscription. Documentation again isn't published yet, and I'm not gonna go through it until the documentation is published from official Microsoft, because I do want to make sure I'm capturing to what they actually are saying. But I do want to provide a demo for you guys how you can actually work on this by yourself going forward. So we are now going to finish Azure subscription vendor machine. And now it says to work through connectivity. So this is a question where it's your design decision. So what you may have is you may have a virtual WAN decision, a firewall, whether you're going to use like a third-party vendor such as FortiGate to be running your firewall, whether you want to be using the native tools, which is the Azure Firewall, or the the virtual WAN gateway. So there's a lot of options which you need to consider when running this. I'm going to try and see what they say in terms of after the RIT. So let's have a look. If I go into 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐤 and I'm going to read me, it says deploy connectivity. So in this case, it's going to go for virtual WAN. So I'm just going to carry on and go forward for this. I'm going to go for virtual WAN setup. And this, again, we're just going to be running rover logout. Running rover login once more. And then we're gonna run the plan. Cool, and now we're just gonna apply it once more. And that's done. So let's have a quick look to make sure that our virtual WAN has been deployed. Just give it a second. There you go. It's just been deployed, and we now notice that we have a virtual WAN, but when you need to, that's going to be your hub, so you need to now deploy your hub after that. So what we need to go into, let's just deploy the hub as well, why not? If I go into over here, and then I'm just gonna create a virtual hub prod. First of all, I'm gonna log out once more, and then I'm gonna log in once more. And now I'm gonna deploy our hub. And that's a plan completed. So let's just run the apply. Okay, that's complete. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just quickly check out the portal and have a look and refresh on the hubs. So as we can see, we have a hub, and it's here, and then after it we can install the Azure Firewall and implement that. Over here you can implement your site-to-site or expressly if you want. Again, you can have the firewalls set up over here. So you look, the world, as you always say, it gives you all these options, and you just have to run it just like I did and go through it here. And the great thing about it is, if I was going to look at Azure Firewalls and deploy Azure Firewalls, then it's just going to create the firewall, and then you use policies to, to do all your settings. And it's, what, this is really great. I'm so glad to show you guys this, because this is Microsoft best practice. They have so many DevOps engineers working on this, making sure that this is a great standard. You might as well just adopt this kind of template and just use that for going forward. Of course, you have to tweak it to your requirements, but essentially, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Now, I want to give you guys an update for why it took me so long to actually release this video. First of all, my laptop monitor basically broke, so I had to send it and get it for repair. I'll shoot a video on that later on. I've been having some personal, but that's fine. And you know, it's just, and yeah, I've also changing jobs, so all of that kind of thing was the reasons why I haven't like released it as quickly as I wanted to. But I think this is a very good demonstration of the power of it. So stay here for next week, because, well, not next week, but next time, when I'm going to be actually deploying with Azure DevOps pipelines running on a GitHub code. So I'm gonna clean up this GitHub, and I'm gonna of course sync this up to my GitHub. I need to, of course, do some changes, but I will get that going. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe, like, and hit that bell, and I will see you on the next one.